Hello and welcome to this session. This is the third part of the same uh, demonstration we are having about uh, crystal reports and we're developing an application which basically ultimately uses we are using it to create an invoice that is consisting of all the data that we need uh, to print an invoice, that is your customer data, your order data, as well as your order line details. So far what we have done here, and I've explained in the previous session, that we have created an application which allows us to look at the order numbers, or rather order details that has been placed by specific users. So we have a list of orders. We have created a date filter for this, and I demonstrated that how it works and the coding behind it, and also explained the text change property of this search field. And we can provide different parameters here, like last name, or we can use the phone number to filter for particular order that we are looking for. So if you are putting like 099, you will see that yes, you're getting a particular customer. This customer has placed multiple orders. If you want to see which orders have been placed, obviously we can click on show order details. Remember, this would have resulted into if we never made a selection of a particular order, this would result into a SQL exception, being thrown, or rather array out of bound exception being thrown, because there's no value in the array. Which record are you looking for? So try and catch actually saves your life, where the catch phrase can actually provide you the reason of having uh, giving you a friendly message, a reminder that please select a record. So this catches your exception and prevents from your application from abruptly stopping. So this is definitely needed here. As I said, it reminds you to make a selection. Once you have made a selection, since we have a code which obviously needs to pick up the selected row and the cell, obviously the first cell of this row contains the order number. So it will pick up the order number from the selected row and selected cell, and assign that value to this variable order number. And that is what we need right over here. So once you click on show order details, it takes you to the next form, and the form takes order number as a parameter. And obviously, since we have put up the queries there in form 2, which selects book ID, book title, author, units, and price from order line, creating an inner join with book table to get the book details. And then we are providing a where clause with the order number. So we are looking for a particular specific order number only. And that is why when we have selected a particular order number 5, as you can see here, we are getting the details of order number 5. So order number 5 consists of a big list of books that have been ordered, and that is what we have achieved so far. So we know by these two forms that we have created, we can search for the orders, we can select a particular order, and then we can look at the order details that we need to see that order would consist of. The next stage would be creating some data structures or classes that are needed for creating a crystal report uh, formatted as an invoice. So let's begin on that section now. This form too, basically, obviously you can change the name of the form to order details form. We also have one button here which talks about another form, which obviously will be consisting of the uh, crystal report that we need to develop now. So let's start there. what we need to do for the next step is to create a class. Obviously, we'll create a couple of classes, one for database connectivity, and also to create some methods that would allow us to create some data sets that will hold our data from the database. And also, we would create one class uh, to hold all the data that we need to be displayed on our invoice. So we'll right click on the solution, we'll click on add class. We'll call this class as invoice class or invoice details class. And this is the class which will consist of properties that will hold our data. Get and set properties. Get and set property fields to hold all the all the attributes, all the data that invoice would have. Initially, I tried to further modularize it by creating multiple classes. But the problem with Crystal Report is as you add that class as an object source for your data, if you add multiple classes, your Crystal Report starts to complain that you are adding multiple sources. Looks like it doesn't support multiple sources, and that is why I believe I ran into some problems when I was trying this example earlier. So this time I've avoided that, and I've rather focused on creating one invoice details class with all the attributes, all the data I need. So for that purpose, you can see that these are the properties, that get set properties we have set up for this class. So we have public string order ID, public string customer ID, cust ID, first name, last name, address, city, phone, order date, book ID, book title, author title, book author, uh, quantity, unit price, which means the price of each book. And then we have created another property which is called total, which is using the get property to calculate return quantity and unit price. We may use this property directly to get order value for a particular book by multiplying the quantity with the unit price, or we might use another method to demonstrate the formula fields in our Crystal report. So we can use both of these ways. So I'm just obviously copy pasting all the properties in this class. So my invoice detail class, which is known as INV details, contains all the properties like order ID, customer ID, first name, last name, address, city, phone, order date, book ID, book title. So the idea is to have all the details in one file, because this file is going to be used as the it will be used as the the file as a .NET object file, data object file for our Crystal report. So after we have done that, we will obviously save it, and then mm, we will rebuild this application. Building or rebuilding the application is imperative, because otherwise, when you are going to the Crystal reports, you will probably not find this as an object. Now, once you have done this, you probably also need to create another class, but we'll come to that later. Let's create a Crystal report. So we will go to add again. We'll right click on this, and we will go to add, and we'll click on new item, and we will select a Crystal reports option from there. So if we keep the default name crystal report 1, obviously the object that will be created will be crystal report 1 1. That is what the default crystal report name will be given to us. So we will be referring this crystal report. You can definitely change the name. I'm not going to do that this time because I created my code with the default one and I don't want to go and change all the names everywhere. So I'll use this, but you can definitely, if when you're doing it on your own, you can have your own name given to it for your own convenience. So let's add this crystal report. So it will ask you, whether you want to use a report wizard or you want to use a blank report. You can also see the operation, the other options there. For cross tabulation report, you can see, you can create a cross tab report. You can create standard or even mailing labels, which means you can generate reports, or you can, like, say for example, you want to generate multiple invoices, and you can obviously create mail labels where your address information will change, or other information can change depending on how you want to generate it. And then this can be emailed as a PDF. You can have a you can use export option, export code over there, and then it can directly be converted into a PDF and emailed. So all that is possible. We'll just focus to creating a blank report right now. Click on OK. So you get your crystal report designer view, your design view. This is your main report, and this report will contain the sections like section 1, which is the report header, section 2. Section 1, as I explained earlier, also basically consists of your company name and some more information, which is obviously in the header, more of like a report header, or like a letterhead header, as you can normally see in any printed invoice. Then second section will be the page header, where you will find the customer details most commonly. You have the customer details, and this information is quite organized in that manner that it has the customer details, name, addresses, and all of that, and order number, order details, order date, and all those information is in this section. So I will be using, simply, you can create, you can go to Field Explorer property over here. Uh, just one section, and you can simply go to the toolbox and create like text objects. Here you can specify uh, this thing, and you can of course format this by going to so I'll say or rather call it books.com sales invoice. So this is basically my header. Of course, you can format this. You can also add other information about your address, contact numbers, and other information can be placed right here on this. So that is one thing. I will again try to save some time, uh, where I would use the existing report that I've already created, and copy the labels from here. So as you can see, I've got my labels. I'll use some other set of labels. Order number, order date. Now we will be adding some parameterized values over here, which I'll be demonstrating just now. So essentially, we will be using some parameter fields just to assign values to these labels to display the customer information. Next thing we would do is we would go to data sources, or we can go to the database fields over here, right click and go to database expert. Here you can see first thing we can create a new connection. The first time you have to create a connection, you go to oledb.edu, go to SQL server driver, only driver for SQL server, uh, mm, uh, and then click on finish. I'm trying to recall, was it OLEDB? Yes, it was OLEDB. And then you can specify your data source property over here. Let me see if I already have that. As I mentioned, you will go to the OLEDB, go to OLEDB driver for SQL Server, and then click on finish. You will definitely get this connection. You're going to put your path of your database server, put your user ID, put your password, and after that it would be showing your database name. That itself is a test that your credentials are correct. You're going to put next and you're going to click on finish. So once you have done that, your connection is established. The next thing you're going to do is you will go to project data, and in project data you will go to .NET objects, and in .NET objects, as I mentioned, you will look for that class that you have created, and this is the class that I've created. Don't create multiple classes because your crystal report will show some error warnings and things like that. So just create one, uh, you know, in one particular specific class with all the properties of the data that you need on your crystal report. You can obviously create a, like a paper, a paper format for it before even going and doing this. This is my crystal report invoice demo 4 invoice details. Click on this and select this. Once you have done it, you click on OK. Once you do that, you will see that your database fields will be all available to you, and you can see all these fields are there. So make sure you have all the fields in one class file, and then we will be placing this over there. Now what we are going to place here is we are basically going to place the section 3 details first. So section 3 details means we will be putting up the order line items. So we'll be putting up the book ID. You will see that there are two fields. The label goes up. It will be displayed like a column heading, and obviously there's a field down there which is over here. Similarly, you will be putting up all your details, book ID, book title, make sure you put them like overlapped, and then what you can do is you can obviously right click on them, uh, go to format object. Here you can uh, change the alignment. In common, you can obviously say a horizontal alignment, make it as centered. Go to the border and click on border as first you would rather select all the four borders, single border. It will show you in the sample here. Left top will be single, or in this case what you can do is, of course, to give it a little bit more better look, you can even choose to uh, you know make three-sided borders. So you have border on the left, you have border in the bottom. Leave the top border, so you'll see a continuity between the labels right on the top and right over there. So you're going to just click on OK. You can use the same formatting using the format painter, and you can apply to other sections. So format painter, apply to other controls like this book title I have applied it to. Similarly, you can also create three-sided borders for the top object. uh, Format object, uh, borders, have the borders on the left side, on the top side, and on the right side. So you will see that this way, even if there are little gaps, it may not be very visible. It does kind of create a little bit of a better continuity. Or you can also use other technique to create these things. So obviously here we need to align these to the center. So this formatting will take some time. I'll probably try and avoid or rather pause my video to do that. Uh, Alignment centered, okay, and then use the same format painter to do it for other fields as well. So this way you can create your borders, or you can use like a box object that sometimes may not give very good output, but you can try that as well. So we have book title, we have the book author, we're going to have price first and then quantity, or the other way around as well, and then we'll have the quantity over here. And then this total field you can put, or you can choose to, I'll rather leave it out to demonstrate formula fields to you. So that is the intention, and that is why I'm just leaving out this total field to you. So we have this sort of arrangement so far. As I said, you can use the format painter to allow you know quickly apply the formatting to all different objects right over here. Next thing what we're going to do is, of course, create a formula field. So for that purpose, we will be clicking on the formula fields as I've shown you right over here. We have used as many fields as we wanted to. Next is to create formula fields. So we will be or maybe we can create a parameterized field first, and then we can demonstrate the formula fields later on. In either way, we can do this. So to create formula fields, we'll right click here, go to new. We can give the name to the field, order amount, click on OK, and here we're going to use the properties that we already have created in invoice details class, and use the property fields there to create a formula field. So we will use unit price. We'll see a particular, and this is now we are following the crystal syntax. There's another basic syntax which is slightly different, but we will use the default crystal syntax. Obviously, the formula would mean we are multiplying this detail, unit price detail, with the quantity field. So we'll drag the quantity field and leave it here. So this is our formula. We will click on, once we have done it, we can also do a check. Check would tell us that the formula has any errors or not. Obviously, if you have discounts that you are also offering, you can include the discounts into your formula fields, where you can calculate a certain percentage of discounts over the value. So you can also include discounts, and some you can also I would rather suggest for the taxes you can create another VAT field over the total grand total. So you have 15% of the grand total that comes, and then you add that grand total as a VAT tax to it, value added tax to it, and then eventually you come to a final total. So that would be a better approach. You can also do that. So I'll click on save and close. So here I have now a formula field, as you can see, order amount. I can drag and drop it here to create an order amount for my this thing. So I can definitely align them. Probably I have to create a little more space for my title field, which will have more bigger titles. So this is it. I'll simply drag the unit price over, sorry, rather than dragging them this way, which will rather create issues, you drag the bottom field straight away, and that will also drag the top field. So what I'm simply doing is I'm resizing my section 3 details field for the purpose of getting the right sort of arrangement, and obviously creating more space for the book title here, which is the field that I want to create, like that. So that is how you can create a better connectivity, continuity as well. Uh, I still have one field left here. So we have created the structure, and this is what we need. Next, we are going to create parameter fields. Right click here, click on new. Parameter fields will simply have the parameter fields value, uh, and this will be the values that we are going to create right over here. Mostly they are used with P, and then this is now trust ID. This is click on OK. So your parameter fields will have the parameter values, and then obviously you will be creating a parameter fields for cust name, you know, so when you are creating, all your parameter fields will come up here one by one, and you would be able to use all the parameter fields right over here. So I'll just probably pause this and try and create all other fields for you. Alright, so I have created some parameterized fields for you. These parameter fields are cust ID. I'll be dragging them and putting them right where need to display this information. A cust name, we'll combine the first name and last name together to display the customer name continuously. eCust phone number, so we are going to drag and drop all these fields to it. We're going to do the same thing with the address field as well. We will combine the address, and we have a separate city field, so we will concatenate that city field along with it. So we have a continuous address, a complete address being displayed in the address field. Order number. So these fields, of course, will be the parameterized field, and they will get their value right from uh, you know the data class that we have created, and we're going to create some functions for that. So we have created this structure. What else we need to do is we need to add a running total field. So running total field, again, we're going to right click and click on new. What running total we need? Of course, we created a formula field called order amount. We will use this as a running total field. So we will put this field, select this and click on this right sided arrow to put order amount as a running total field, and that will obviously give us a running total of this you know so we have created a running total field. Our total 0 is the default name. We will drag and drop it right over here. Of course, we can make it bold, and we can also put a text object right here to show voice total. So we got it here. So we can try and resize it, make it no, don't use that. Our build is all fine. Okay, you are always tempted to use control B command, but you forget that you are in Visual Studio and here the commands are different. Select this, obviously go to the property itself, sorry, and click on bold here. You can use the font size or whatever properties you want to. So here we have so the report preview will be something like this. Okay, of course, we haven't created any parameterized values for it, so we do see some empty fields being demanded here. Of course, user cancelled. This is the error message we are getting, um, and this will be there because we haven't coded any of the fields so far. The next thing we're going to do here is that we will be creating our database connection classes, and we'll be coding a few more codes to the other classes that we need to create. So the next thing we will be doing is we will be um, creating a new class. We'll call this class as connect db. And here, one thing we need to add is the connection string. Other than uh, other things that we will be adding, we will be creating two queries as well. One is our query, we call it as a book query, where we are selecting all the books in a particular order. So the query says select, again we're using a alias B here for the books, and alias D for order line, basically, uh, for the order line table. So we say select B dot book ID, B dot book title, B dot author, uh, and then from the order line we are selecting number of units that have been ordered. So the alias name is D for units, which means essentially it's like order line dot units. Order line is the table name. D dot price, the price is being picked up from the order line table again, and obviously this is from order line, which is aliased as D. Inner join with books, aliased as B, and then we are creating the relationship, the reference of your primary and foreign key, that b dot book id is equal to order line dot book id, which means d dot book id. So any way you would like to write it, this way or that way, doesn't make a difference. So d dot book id, which means order line dot book id, is equal to b dot book id, which means books dot book id. So this is the primary foreign key relationship we are specifying here. Where clause is used, where the order number, that means order line dot order number in the order line table, is equal to, and this is obviously the variable we have created, public static void, right in form 1. Remember, right on the top here in form 1 we created this public static string order number, and we initialize this order number by the uh, we initialized it by selecting an order number right in the first form that you remember, where we selected a grid, and when we selected a grid we assigned the order number to this like a public static field, which means static means that it is automatically initialized when the constructor is initialized, which means this value will be accessible and available to all the forms, all the classes that you have in this namespace in this project. So you can use it anywhere you feel like in your namespace in your project, right? So we have this as a static, which means like a field that is initialized with the constructor itself when you are running your project, and it is made available to all the classes. So that is the reason why we made it public static. And then we will be using this information that we have created, as I mentioned to you. So this is the source of this assignment of order number. That is what I want to bring your attention to. We are using it right from here. Once the order number is initialized, then we can use it in our crystal report as well. So this is where we have it. So that is why the second query again is called customer query, which is selecting the order number, customer ID, customer first name, customer last name, customer address, customer city, customer phone, customer date. So we are picking up, uh, customer phone, and then we are picking up the order date from the order table itself. Now this table is the inner join between the customer table and the order table. So we have the customer table aliased as C, and we have the order table, which is called TBL order. Here I told you not to use the order keyword order name, because that conflicts with your order by clause, and at times it gives you trouble. You can use square brackets if you have already done it to prevent that issue, but still, I would suggest just go and rename your table. Your rename will never create a problem in your database. When you rename a table, you can rename it to something like TBL underscore order. I have done it. I also initially forgot to do that. So you have it. And again, you have the where clause in this query where the order number is equal to, again, the order form. Now this form one I have here is named as order form. So just remember that form one here, the name we gave it to identify it, specifically, separately, we gave a name of, uh, you know, uh, we gave it a name as order form, which obviously you'll see here when you select a form one in design. And you're going to see the name is order form. So this is the form that we are using, obviously, to access that order number variable, and we have given it the value by selecting the grid value from there. And now we are going to use that in our crystal report. So here the query has been created by using the order form.order number. Next thing we're going to do here is obviously use a connection string, create a SQL connection object. Again, you see one code here. This is a code for Dapper. If you're using Dapper package, which definitely we are not using, you can comment it out. So connection con new connection, specify the data source parameters and your credentials. Next thing is we're going to create some functions to initialize our data sets and our table adapters. So this is called cust info, which obviously will be initializing customer information. So SQL command is equal to new SQL command, and here we will be using the customer query here. This is the cust query here, which obviously fetches you the order number, customer ID, customer first name, last name, address, city, customer phone number, all that information. That information goes to a table adapter and a data set is created. The table adapter is filled with the data set and it returns the data set back to us. Remember the name cust number, cust info, sorry. Similarly, you're going to create another set of function for book details. And here, similarly, we are repeating the same code, except that, this will have the book query, the query parameter here, which is the book query. So which consists of information like book ID, book title, book author, units. This information is obviously coming from the inner join between the book table and the order line table. Sorry. So order line obviously will have details about the book, like book title and book author, coming from the book table, because your order line table doesn't have that information. Even if you're going to look at this right over here, you will see that your order line just have fields like order number, book ID, price, and units. How many units you have sold. It doesn't contain information like a book title, book author. You can add more information if you feel like. The database, the table does have details like publisher and all of that. We don't need too much of detail here for our invoice creation. So we have only used more relevant ones, and then definitely that information is coming from the books table. So books table will have book title, book author, and more information that we need. So this is why we created two different queries and we supplied them as two different SQL command, parameters to two different functions that we have created for getting customer information and for getting book details information. So once we have done that, of course, I would like to use this code. I'm too lazy to type all the code over there in this new application that we are developing. So we're going to just put this code over here. Of course, the class need some uh, uh, you know inclusion of uh, class parameters, like over here. We have to use SQL client and system data. So we are using that. So all our errors are gone and we have found our references. So SQL client and using system data, these two classes have to be added to the using list. So once you have done it, you would save it. You would again build it. Still, we have to add another form on which we will be putting up our crystal report. So we need to do that. Build has succeeded. Right click on your solution, add a new item, which is a Windows form. We just leave it as form 3. Of course, you can change the name. This is the form on which we will be putting our crystal report. So what are we going to do here is, of course, we have created the crystal report, but we need to put uh, the components there. So we go to the printing tab. In printing tab, first thing we're going to put is uh, uh, sorry, not the printing. It's already quarter past 3 here. I'm feeling a little sleepy. Please pardon me for that. Uh, reporting, yeah, the reporting tab there. Where is this? Where is the reporting tab? Here. So in the reporting tab, we obviously will be putting up the crystal report viewer. Drag and drop it onto the form. And the second thing, obviously, we will be putting up is the crystal report document. So crystal report document will also be dragged and dropped to it. It will automatically pick up the crystal report name. As you can see, this is your project name, crystal report invoice demo 4 dot crystal report 1. This will be the name, and of course this will be selected by default. If you don't have many of the crystal reports there, you don't need to choose anything. Be careful that your object that is created, object reference, will be crystal report 11. This will be by the default name created for your crystal reports. And here you will see your crystal report name will be crystal report .rpt. So this is the crystal report that you have created, but the object reference will be crystal report 11. So that is to be kept in mind. Next thing, we will just double click on this to go to the form 3 form load, a crystal report viewer load property. This is obviously your form 3, and I think I'm in the right place, or am I in the wrong place? Just let me just double check that as well. Okay, so we are into this form 3 code view now. Obviously, once you click on the any blank area over here, this will take you to the code view, and in the you will see that there will be a crystal report viewer 1 underscore load property, which we need to do some coding for. First thing what we will do here is we will simply create a public int uh, you know variable for order num, Reason for that is obviously we need to make sure that we are having uh, a variable that we will basically be utilizing in many different different loops and different functions. So that is one thing. Next thing is we will be converting this. We need to initialize this order number. Of course, with the order number that we have already initialized in the form 1, if you can recall this order number over there, which we are also picking up from this data grid view by selecting this value. So this is our order number that we created, and it was created as string. So here basically we would be needing to convert that into uh, convert it into integer, because we created this integer and we're going to pass that as an integer value to our a different when we call the functions that we created in the previous class called db connect. So we will convert this into uh, integer, and we will initialize that in our constructor. So order num which we created here has been converted into integer and initialized, and then now we will be obviously initializing our we will be creating our object of database db connect class, so which we can do right here at the um at the class level as well. Next thing we need to do is uh, we need to uh, okay, there is a slight uh, it is connect db, not db connect, never mind. So we have created an object of connect db connect, whatever you would like to call this class as. This is obviously going to give us a little name change trouble, but we'll do that. So next thing we are going to uh, create a list of uh, of our invoice detail class object, which will store the values that we have obtained from our table adapters and the data sets we have created. So this code goes in like this. Again, we will be using this. You can see that list invoice details underscore list. This is an array of list we have created, and now our data set will be picking up the value from here. So data set ds is equal to db1, because we created this object as db1 dot book details. Now what is this book details? Obviously this is the details book details function that we created to initialize our value. If you refer to our db connect class, you will see that. So this is our book details function which we need to call over here. So book details, and we are calling this db1 book detail function right over here. This obviously will return a data set. As you can see, this returns a data set. ds is being returned, book details, and this object will be passed to ds here, which is a data set object, right? So data set obviously will have the book details. Now in a for each loop, we are running a data row object between from the data set that we already have and all the rows that we have here, and putting that into a list array, into a list essentially, by creating a invoice details object. So we are creating an invoice details object and we are putting that into a list, adding it to a list. And now what are we doing here? We are initializing all the properties that we have in this, which is your book ID, book title, book author, book price, and quantity. And we are initializing these values. These are all the properties that we have by the values that are we getting from the data set. So our data set obviously will have the field names of the table. So keep that in mind, but we also may have to convert them. So your book ID obviously has been converted to integer. Uh, your book title has been converted to string. So your book title is here. Book author again. Your price has been converted to unit price as decimal, and you're going to have your units is being converted to quantity. So these are the property fields. You remember those get set properties that we created in the invoice details class. If you can remember, this is your invoice details class. All your property list name is here. So here you can see we have this property called quantity, but there in the database we are calling it uh, as units, as you can see here. So this is the difference. This is to kind of bring your attention that these are two different parameters. This is the quantity, which is the property of a invoice DB, this invoice details class, in detail class that we have declared here, right? So this differentiation was created deliberately to differentiate that these are two different entities. And while this is your units, is basically the field that we have in the table of order line. You see there. So your units will be coming up from the table, invoice detail table. So here we have it, and we will be having it right here. So you can see that this information is coming up from there. So this is the information which we will be having in our invoice, in our crystal report invoice. Book ID, book title, author, price, and units. And this is what we have added to a list as invoice details. Next is obviously customer information, which we are going to assign to the crystal report as parameters. So that is going to be a bit different. So you can see here the second data set object is created, and obviously this is a data set object initialized by calling the custinfo function in the class, which is dbconnect class. So in this class dbconnect, we have the custinfo as a function, uh, as a data set type of function, which returns a data set with the customer query. The customer query is here, which consists of information like order number, customer ID, customer F name, customer last name, address, city, customer phone, and this information, and also order number. Now order number comes from order table, so that is why we have to create an inner join between customer and the order table. So we need to create an inner join, and that is why we have it. And then the where clause, the where parameter is again the order number that we have selected in form 1. Remember, we have initialized that in form 1 by clicking on that data view grid, and by selecting the order number cell there from there, if you remember that statement still. So this is what we have right here, and that is why in form 3, we have all this information. Now what we are doing here, we are initializing the crystal report set parameter value. So you can see crystal report data source obviously is getting a list of data source from there. Set data source to the list that we have already created. And what are we putting into this list? Crystal report. Now remember, the object name here is crystal report 11. while the file name is crystal report 1. So it automatically creates a default object name. You can change it, but I've just left it that way. And then set parameter value is the property, and the parameter value is pcust id. Remember that we created these parameters right in your crystal report. These are the parameters that we have created, all the parameter fields: pcust id, pcust name, pcust phone, and pcust address, and pcust number. So these are what we are initializing here straight away, you know, by putting these values into it. So these are the values that we are having uh, right over here. So we will be using this information straight away, copying it from here, and as I said, I'll do it, you know, step by step, so you have a little idea what we are trying to do. So in the crystal report viewer load event, we are putting this. After that, we are putting second set of information, which is basically to get the customer information. You can see in this customer information what we have done is we have initialized all the parameter values. uh, so what we have done here is we have set all the parameters, and we have also try and consolidate a few of the parameters here. First, we have the set parameter as value as pcust_id, and we are using the data row that is coming from our query. You remember the query that we created for customer, and the customer query was a join between the customer and the order table. And from there, we are picking up the customer details as well as the order details. Order number comes from there, order date comes from that order table, but rest of the information we need to fetch from the customer table, and that is why we had to create an inner join. And after that, we have set all these parameters to pcust_id, which is the data row cust_id to string. Then we have pcust_name. Now in pcust_name, we have concatenated the first name. You can see dr first name to string, which is fname cust_fname. This is our field name of the table, uh, plus with the cust l name. This is the last name, and we have added a space here, a space, just a space, kind of a literal, just to give a space between first name and last name. Otherwise, they will come and join together. They will concatenate. So we don't want to. We need to have a space. So that is why we use the plus concatenator operator to have this, and we get a complete name. And then we have a customer phone, which is also the cust phone in your table. We have customer address. Now again, what we are doing, same thing. We are picking customer address field here, and we are concatenating the city field here to it. So now we get a complete address. We get the street address, and we get the city name, which shows like a full complete address. We don't need to have specific, other field for that. Next is your order number. Obviously, be careful. This is where it comes to play, to supply the order number that you have selected in form 1, because you want to only display the order that you have chosen from the list in the form 1. So remember, in form 1 we created that public static variable, and then we use that variable right here to initialize our local our own class variable called order num here. that was called order number. It was obviously spelled differently. And this is an integer type. So we need to also convert that. And we converted that into an integer type order number, because here the parameter we are supplying is a order number that is being set to this. So you can see that set parameter value is p order number, and order number is being given as a value. So this is the integer type argument that is being given to this parameter. And next is the order date. Now in order date also, uh, the order date normally displays the time as well, which you don't want to display. So in order to do that, then you can convert. You can do it in other different ways also. What I found convenient was basically that you convert this. If you don't convert it into date and time, because this is a string value that you get normally from the, just by using the table, the data row. So you have to convert that into date and time, and after that you can use toString format here. You can use any date format here to display the date, whether it's a long date or a short date. It depends on you. But if you use this to convert this to date and time, and then use this date format, it is going to be a mmddyyy format. So you will not get the time. Otherwise, if you leave it by default, you simply use it as a string. This value will also show the time, which obviously you don't want to display there. So these are some of the parameter settings that we have done. And what else we need to look at is probably just to assign the crystal report viewer one report source as the object of the crystal report we have created. There is still one more thing that is left, which is uh, to add. So we have added this here. I think probably what do we need here? For each loop, we probably have to add something here. I think okay, this is strange. Crystal report viewer one dot load. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Uh, okay. Uh, After this for each loop, we will be putting up this. That's it. Obviously, we still have two more. Okay, do we have three? Yeah, three closing braces, right? So we have it here. No issues found, which means that we are not missing any brackets or anything. So we have created this. This is the coding we are basically putting up in Form3 class, but specifically on the Crystal Report Viewer load event, where we are, using the dataset from the, that connect DB class we created with the connection string and with the functions for running the queries for customer information, as well as for the, book information that we need to retrieve, and then obviously creating these creating these queries, and then putting up the connection string data, and then using these two methods to initialize our data sets with the table adapters. So that is what we have done: book details and the cust info. So once we have done this, obviously we have created a list of this and given the invoice detail as a as an object parameter to this list. And then obviously we have accessed these data sets, uh, book details as ds, and then we have customer info as ds2, and then obviously in the end we put crystal report viewer as report source to the crystal report. Now what we are missing is basically one entry into the app.config file, where we need to add into the into the yeah, we already have entered that. This is okay. Is it the right one? I guess it is. uh, so we have entered the use legacy v2 runtime activation policy is equal to true. This is to give legacy support to the assembly to run your crystal reports. Obviously, I demonstrated also that you can use connection string directly into your app configuration, app config file, and then you can use it directly for accessing, like we have done in this. I demonstrated that in Form 2 as well to you. Probably I've done that in Form 2 also, uh, right over here. So we have in Form 2 we have also uh, use the same app config settings. So you can see there's a comment here using app config configuration, app config connection settings, and then you can directly use the name of the connection. Connection string is equal to configuration manager connection strings, and you can specify the name and the connection string property over here, and you can directly use the connection object after this. So that obviously helps uh, to also kind of have a uniformity in your application. You don't have to create separate connection objects. Probably it will also improve the performance of your application. So these are the things that we need to keep in mind, uh, and then we have set it up. So what else we need is basically this form 3, I think, needs to be called on this button here. So we need to uh, call form 3 f3 is equal to new form 3, and then f3 dot show dialog, and then we can say other form we can hide f2 dot hide. Does it work here? uh, sure. uh, oh, sorry, I'm just hiding this form. This is obviously this dot hide. So we are hiding the present form. In that case, we don't need to then see that. If we can choose whether we want or we don't want. So this is like this. So this is our overall coding. Uh, uh, and we will build this solution. The build is fine. We're going to start this now. We'll simply use the same approach, so we have some continuity that we can see. I'm selecting this order number 5. Keep that in mind. Show order details. We're going to click on that. We are getting all the order details, all the order line items that we have for this particular customer, and you can see there's a list of different books that we have. So my favorite ones are there, and we're going to click on print selected order. So once you do that, you're going to see that you're getting your invoice. You can obviously increase the formatting a little bit more better, but you can see that all your books and everything is coming up here. I believe I could have done a little bit more bordering right on the top. I think I forgot to do that. So you can see that the top border is not going there. But the point here is that order number 5, customer ID 4, customer name, first name, last name concatenated, address coming by street address and the city all together in one place. You are getting your formula fields working for you, so you are getting a calculation done here between unit price and quantity. and then you're also getting a running total as a invoice total right here. So this is your demo for this crystal report, its formatting, its features, plus also how to create specific queries that you need, and the joins that you need to get information from different table. Now this is a very interesting report. As I said, your invoice itself is a report. It's a very interesting one because it brings information from all the tables that you have. You're getting all the details, book title, book author, coming from your books table. You are getting the details like how many you have bought, the quantity you purchased, and the book price, the unit price coming from the order table, uh, or maybe from the order line table rather, sorry, from order line table. uh, you are calculating the order amount directly on the fly, and you can also add profit margins right here. So what you can do is, probably your table would contain the procurement price, but here when you're generating an invoice, probably you have a policy that we will have a 20% profit or 10% profit on every book. So you can calculate the selling price, and you can add directly to the report field by adding 10% increment to the total price that you have. And then obviously you're going to have an invoice. You can also incorporate taxes. You can incorporate your value added tax to it, calculating 15% of overall invoice total, and then adding that and showing it as a separate addition, and then having like a grand total right in the end of it. So this is what you can do. Of course, your information like customer name and phone numbers and address is coming from the customer table, but we are only fetching the details for a particular customer that has done the order number 5. So order number 5 was given by customer ID 4. Customer ID 4 is Hasina Parker, and obviously the details are there. So this is a complete sort of like a implementation of all the data in different tables that you have. You can create your joins and your your selective queries about having the information that you need. Sometimes the issue is that you can have information, but you don't know how to integrate that information and how to create the reference to the right information. So this approach will be quite useful for you in that case. Thanks for attending. I will be posting this recording, of course, three stage in three parts. Once it is rendered, and probably tomorrow. It's quite late now, 3:15. And thanks very much for attending, and we'll continue with this journey with more features on ASP.NET, as well as whatever we need in crystal reports in future. Thanks very much for attending. Thank you. Goodbye.